Are we talking about Elon Musk and the petition to get rid of his citizenship?
We are talking about Elon Musk and the petition to get rid of his citizenship. Why you gotta spoil everything like that?
Because I also keep up with the news to a degree.
Stop it.
I'm sorry that it's my job.
Sometimes I want
too.
things to be a surprise. So yeah, here's the petition.
I apologize that it's my job as well. I'm sorry.
That is.
I'll never keep up with politics again.
I don't believe you.
No.
I don't believe you.
Hey, I did a decent-ish job of keeping my head in the dirt for about 2 months.
Yeah.
It's a very, very brief. It didn't work very well.
Yeah. Okay. So the way petitions work in Canada is it's a similar system to what you have in the States, except I think our threshold for it being addressed by the government is a lot lower. So anyone can write a petition. Any Canadian resident or citizen can write a petition. And then when 5 other people sign on to endorse it, like 5 other citizens or residents sign on to endorse it, then it starts, you've got to hunt around for a member of parliament to approve it. And then once that happens, it gets put up on this website. And when it breaks 500 signatures, it gets put on the agenda for discussion in front of parliament. And yeah, there's a few more steps to it than that. You can't just like do frivolous petitions. There's a vetting process and everything, but that's the bird's eye view of the process. And so this petition went live on February 20th.
Yeah.
And so, okay. So backing it up, if you didn't know, Elon Musk is a dual citizen between Canada and the US. And I had heard that before, but it always slips my mind. So like when I heard it again, I was like, he's a Canadian? Fuck. Yeah. So he's got dual citizenship, and people want him to not anymore. So this was initiated by Qualia Reid from Nanaimo, British Columbia. Thank you for that, Qualia Reid. And it was endorsed by Charlie Angus, the NDP member of parliament for Timmins and James Bay, which NDP are
Stumpy,
a progressive
thank you very
party.
much for
They're basically the only
Oh.
party in parliament that actually does anything important anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, if the United States wasn't a 2-party system, AOC would probably be a member of the NDP rather than the Democrats.
But because we have a 2-party system, you just kind of have to go with the centrist libs and then stir up shit.
Yeah. And yeah, so within, what's it been, 6 days? Less than a week? It has, where are we? There's a number on here somewhere. Petition details. I don't know. It's over 300. Oh, there we go. 308,166 signatures in a week.
Jesus.
And remember, the threshold to be brought up in Parliament is 500. So it's going to Parliament, baby.
Well past that threshold.
And it's active until June. So I think our Parliament is prorogued right now, which means they ain't doing shit.
So what do you think the likelihood of his citizenship getting revoked actually is?
So it's hard to say. Because honestly, like I could see the Liberal Party doing it. But they're kind of like they're like the Democrats in that they're the establishment. They don't really do a whole lot. They kind of run on the whole like, oh, you don't want a conservative, do you, sort of thing. Like not quite to the degree that you see in the States with the like, oh, I'm not Trump, so you must vote for me. Not quite to the same extent, but that is a good chunk of it. Like basically, so in the riding that riding's like a district. In the riding that I'm in, we always go NDP in the provincial elections. But then the federal elections almost always go either Liberal or Conservative. We haven't had an NDP member for our riding since, I want to say it was the late 90s. Fennec's asking for a link to the petition. You have to be Canadian to sign it, but I did just put the link in the chat.
And I feel like, and this is a thing that's, I guess, relevant to me because I do plan on running. I feel like just saying I'm not conservative, it it stopped working a while ago, and not just because there's a lot of lefties that hear that and they're like, that's not enough for me. But
Yeah.
I feel like there's plenty of people on the right that go, I mean, and who are you trying to convince there, buddy?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you know what? I def so like what I was kind of getting at with my whole saying like my riding hasn't gone NDP for federal in like 30 years, is that for the federal elections I do vote liberal, even though I'd rather have an NDP rep. But for the provincial elections, and we're having an election tomorrow, and I voted by mail today, and I voted NDP because Wayne Gates is our representative, and he's been our representative for a long time, and he's really good at what he does. He stands for all the right things, and as my children have pointed out to me, he looks like the Lorax.
So he speaks for the trees.
He speaks for the trees, and the NDP party's color is orange. So the orange guy that looks like the Lorax speaks for the trees.
You know, it's almost poetic in that way. It is almost poetic in that way.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, basically our system's better.
Well, I'm glad to know that somebody has a better system than America for handling not only elections but petitions.
So I remember being in civics class, they would talk about like we actually did learn about the American system and the Canadian system in our Canadian civics class, and it was like under the umbrella of like learning the pros and cons of the various systems.
Yeah.
And yeah, at the time, like it seemed reasonable. Like, yeah, no, one system is not obviously inherently better than the other one. They both have their pros, they both have their cons. I think at this point, it's like, pro, it'd be a lot harder for someone like Trump to take over here. A lot harder. Because we don't vote for the prime minister. We vote for our own representatives, and then whichever party has the most seats is the leader of that party who is elected by the party.
Yeah, whereas here
gets to be prime minister. So like it's like a double democracy thing almost, because like they have to win all the seats and then they have to win their party's votes. So like in order to actually take over, like what happened in the States in 2016 with Trump just like running almost as a joke. And then whoops, we accidentally elected him.
Yo,
like that
Suris.
just wouldn't happen because he would never ascend to party leadership.
Yeah, on the other hand though, there is something to be said about when a party itself gets incredibly corrupt, but at the same time, Trump is now, after winning his election, part and parcel to the corruption in his party, and accelerated a lot of it to begin with. So there's a part of me that wants to bring that up, but almost as like a pseudo devil's advocate thing, not in any real way, because the end result of our system has been Trump.
Yeah.
And the end result previously was Bush, and the end result previously was Reagan and Nixon.
Yeah, so Scott D says it didn't stop Stephen Harper from trying to be king. Yeah, Stephen Harper did a lot of damage, but you know what? Would have been a lot worse if we had the American system.
Tales of Atonement and Una Winged Wolf. There we go. Thank you for resubscribing, both of you. I appreciate it.
And Fennec says, "Holy crap, I am tired. I feel ya. Me too. That's why I only picked 2 news items today, and one of them was this really short one." That's just basically, there is a petition. And I've just been trying to fill the air so we can get the clip to 8 minutes for the sweet, sweet mid-roll money.
Well, we're at 9 minutes, 43 seconds. I promise you that.
Did we mention Ronald Reagan? He was, well, okay, the first part gets cut off and added to the random chit-chat clip.
That's
so we
entirely
go longer
fair.
than So did we mention Ronald Reagan? He was bad. Yeah, but guess what? He was a lot less bad than Trump. Like, the things that Trump is doing would have Ronald Reagan spinning in his grave.
Well, but to be fair, and not because being fair to Trump is something that I really want to do, but to be fair, the only reason that the things that Trump is doing are worse are because when Ronald Reagan was working with the Heritage Foundation's playbook then, the 3,000-page playbook he was working with, during that time, he was having to advance a lot of the shit in that playbook within the frame of what he could do then. The reason Trump is able to do as much damage as he can right now is part and parcel to the due to the foundation that was laid for him by Reagan.
I'm not saying Reagan didn't like build
the inroads that Trump is using.
He built the foundation on which Trump is building his empire.
Yeah, because like the biggest thing is the marriage of the Christian nationalists to the Republican Party got solidified in the Reagan era, got popularized in the Reagan era, and that is what Trump is riding on right now, and all of his strongest and most fervent constituents are in that particular branding. So yes, I agree. What Trump has done so far is worse than what Reagan has done, but only because Reagan gave him the leash to lead Congress around with. Speaking of that, did you see the Project 2025 tracker?
I did.
Yeah, that's
I used
fucking
it as a source
scary.
in one of my videos. It is fucking scary. Yeah.
I may have started my video on that, saying every single one of you that said that Trump's plan is Agenda 47 and not Project 2025, and you know exactly who you are, need to go into my comment section, get on your hands and knees, call yourself a fucking idiot, and say that nobody should ever trust anything that comes out of your mouth ever again. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.